Hey brothers, it's Shannon,
Hi, I'm Caroline,
coming at you from Cleveland.
coming to you from Orlando, and we're going to be teaching you the basics on how to juggle. So first things first, you're going to need 3 tennis balls, preferably. If you have golf balls, you could use those too. These are just easier to hold on to, and green's a good visual for learning that hand-eye coordination.
Feel free to listen to some bops during this to keep your sanity in check because you will get impatient. If you can practice this outside at first, we recommend it because when starting out it can be a little bit easier with more space.
So we have 4 main points to cover in learning this party trick. The first one being you're going to want to make an X in the air when you're throwing, and so the best thing to do when you're starting out juggling for the first time is just use 2 at first. So you're going to want to master crossing the 2 balls in the air, making an X, and throwing them to the opposite hands. Also, you're not wanting to watch your hands when you throw, you're looking up in the space that you're throwing. So again, you're just going to want to practice crossing and making that X. This took me a couple minutes to figure out, but then once you get the rhythm of this, it'll be much easier once you add in the third one. Okay, so the second trick is just to focus on working in a TV box. So when you throw, you don't want to lob them too high. Naturally, you're going to want to think that you need more time to catch when you're throwing in a rhythm or establishing a rhythm. So really just try and focus on throwing at or above your forehead instead of throwing all the way up to then retrieve. Also, when you're throwing, try and keep Shannon's going to cover this too, but try and keep your hands close to your body and also keep your elbows tucked. Instead of you just like throwing out your arms, you want to stay as contained as you can. So again, focusing on that TV box. Naturally, when you're starting, you are going to want to lob. So just try and, as you progress through this, lower your tosses down to where you can, work in a smaller contained space. So the third point I'm going to talk about is, it kind of depends on what your style is. If you want to flick your wrist when you throw the balls up, because then it'll come straight down at you, or how I do it is I palm the ball and it just comes straight back down. So focus on one of the two, and naturally when Shannon and I both learned this at separate times, we both ended up like tossing it forward and chasing after balls. So you really want to focus on flicking your wrist to where the ball comes directly back down at you. And again, just like keeping it contained within that TV box I talked about before.
When you're ready to move on to 3 tennis balls, put 2 in one hand and 1 in the other. It doesn't matter which hand has 2 or which hand has 1, it's just whatever is comfortable for you. In this case, I'm using my right hand for the 2. In the hand with 2 balls, you're going to put 1 ball towards your palm and the other towards your fingertips. To start out the juggling motion, you're going to use the ball closest to your fingertips in the hand with 2 and toss it in the air. You're going to do that X formation like Caroline was talking about, and you want it to land right in this hand. So, you toss this one, it's floating in the air, and as it's coming down, you're getting ready with this hand to throw this one up. Right before the first ball lands in your hand, you're going to toss the other ball into the air. An exchange like that should happen. Same kind of thing, you want the X formation, you want this ball now coming back into this hand. So, again, as this is falling towards your hand, you're going to use the third ball that you have in your hand and toss it up as this one lands, and you're going to catch this ball in this hand. And that's pretty much it. It just keeps repeating itself from that point on. Something that I like to keep in mind is that when you're throwing the tennis balls, you want them to be kind of parallel to your body. You don't want them to be too far out or too far in. You want to keep a consistent line so that they stay in place. Once you get the basic motions down, you can work on scaling it in a little closer to your body, like this. And there you have it. Now you're a pro. You can learn to have a little bit of fun with it. Right, Cooper? Say hi. Ready to move on to 3 balls. Put 2 in one hand. Okay. Tennis balls, tennis balls, tennis balls. Oh god, I'm fine. Okay.
Oh, dang, I almost had it.
I always wait until right before the ball comes down on my hand.
Okay.
Once you get the motions down, you can start working on scaling it in towards your body a little. Oh, or not. Goodbye, brothers.